Good morning. I just wanted to talk a little bit today about the use of objects and building the associations with objects to help a child understand what happens next. I have two types of students who right now kind of need to work on the same type of goal, even though their disability has some different characteristics. So, for my children who are on the autism spectrum, it's been known for a long time that the use of objects can help a child understand a transition, and it can help reduce negative behaviors, frustration, temper tantrums, and those types of things. And giving them the physical object helps them then understand when you start to transition to pictures and then to picture symbols. The other type of child who works a lot with actual objects are my visually impaired students. So if a child has difficulty seeing and getting cues from the environment as to what's going to happen next, you're going to want to give that child a transition object and let them have time to feel it and process it before you do the transition. Then they'll begin to make that association between the object and what happens next. For each of these children, what you can do, each of these children's unique disabilities, what you can do is then start to build time concepts. So you let the child know that a diaper change is coming. You use words, you let them feel the diaper, and then you hand them the washcloth or the bath toy, and they start to understand that after the diaper change, they're going to get a bath. And you start to use the terms first, and then when you're presenting what's going to happen during the day. So likely your child already has some instances where they can do this very well. Um, but what we're going to be talking about is how to build that in other situations. But often if a child hears you go and jingle your keys, they might see you get your purse. They might feel you put their jacket on them. They can understand by those associations that they're getting ready to go somewhere in the car. They may not know where, but they know that they're leaving the house. Okay. So, building the understanding of objects and the association with objects, it helps build the understanding of calendar skills, daily calendar skills, and daily events that we would be using every day at school. The way we might be using it is to have a box system with a number of boxes next to each other, all attached, each which has an object as to what happens next in the schedule. And the child would either be handed that object or they'd be allowed to feel that object before the next thing happens. Gradually, what that can be moved to is maybe a Velcro strip with smaller representations of the objects attached to the Velcro strip. So for instance, instead of an entire diaper, they have a piece of the diaper that's been cut and attached to a Velcro strip. And they know the Velcro, the diaper change happens next, and then they can feel for maybe the spoon, which is attached with Velcro next to it, and they know that, breakfast comes next. Okay. So, how do we build the understanding that two or four things might happen? So, say if your child has a bedtime routine where they get a diaper change, they get their face washed or a bath, they brush their teeth, or you assist in brushing teeth, and you help get pajamas on. Those would be four things that you could get a representation of and set in front of the child before you do the activities. So you're going to have the diaper, the washcloth, the toothpaste tube, and the pajama top all sitting in a row. And as you get ready to do the first thing, you might hand the child the object, and then go to where you're going to do that activity. And it assists with the transition, and it assists with their understanding what happens first and then next. For a child with visual challenges, what we need to do is build in time for them to feel those objects. Um, and eventually we will build in the skill of feeling from left to right. For my students with visual challenges, you're only going to want to use at the most 2 objects at this time. So you might let them have, feel of the diaper and say, first diaper change, and then we're going to do bath time, and either give them the washcloth or a bath toy that they associate with bath time. For my students with visual challenges, they are going to need extra time to feel and process the object's meaning. Maybe your child's morning routine is a diaper change, a tube feeding, and bath time. What you can do is use the diaper to represent the diaper change. You can use an extra syringe to represent the tube feeding time. And you can use either the washcloth or bath toy for bath time. So as these associations are then built, we'll move to a smaller representation of it. In my children who have autism or autism spectrum disorders, they might be able to move to a picture of the object or to a symbol drawing of the object. For my child with visual impairments, you might be able to move from that entire diaper to letting them just feel the texture of the diaper, maybe that's been attached to an index card. And so gradually those items will be changed and made a little more portable, a little bit easier to use. How do we make associations with people? Because that's another thing. You want to let your child know, is the therapist coming today? Is that part of their schedule? How do they know who is there and working with them if their vision is impaired? And you can do that several ways. You can figure out maybe an object or an activity that the child always does with that particular person, and figure out a way for them to have a texture or a feel for the object. Maybe that individual always wears a scent or a perfume that you could add to a texture so that the child makes the association that this is the person that's going to be coming. As long as they don't have allergies, the child, we wouldn't want to set those off. Maybe there is something about your keychain that the child is allowed to feel and explore during the time that you spend together. So I have a keychain that I'm getting ready to go try and find at my house. It has a squishy ball as part of it, textured feel. And that's something that I'm going to use with a particular student so that they can always feel that particular keychain when I come to work with them. So they probably already have some associations with my voice and some of the activities we do, but this will be kind of a carryover to other situations. I've also seen maybe, small keychain flashlights or a keychain that is woven and has a unique texture. All those are great ideas. And also what we're going to be doing is doing a sign language sign and making that sign underneath the child's hand so that they can start to feel or make association with the sign that is associated with the therapist's name. How do you deal with abstract concepts such as going outside or playing outside? The best way to deal with things like that is to start to build something into the routine that the child can physically touch each time you do that activity. So now If when you go outside, your child is mainly in a wheelchair, and maybe they just feel the breeze and they know that children are playing around them, maybe what you can do is find a way to bring the wheelchair closer to a tree. Help them feel the bark on the tree. Or if it's easier to grab a branch with a few of the leaves or to feel the bark on a branch, you're going to do that every time when you go outside. Then what you can do is, as we make calendars at school or you make calendars at home to help build understanding of what happens next, you can get a small piece of bark from that tree, or you can get a small branch from that tree if that's part of what the child feels every day. And that then can be used to represent going outside, because that's part of the child's experience every time that they go outside. So hopefully this gives some information for discussion and thought as we look at trying to build school routines and life routines, understanding, and communication. Um, so if you have any questions for me, please let me know. And I hope you have a good morning. Thank you so much.